Hello world, hello YouTube, hello everybody. This is Prepper Princess. This is going to be a quick, no it's not going to be a quick video. This is going to be probably a long video because it's so important to me about why I don't have solar and why I think a lot of people who do have solar don't really need it. I did have a comment from NC Prepper asking why I don't have solar because I live in the Sun Belt of California and it's something that I should be taking advantage of. That's a very good point and a very good question. So let's go ahead and get down into this. Okay, so you guys know that I make my prepping videos and I make my money saving videos, and I've been doing that for the money saving part I've been doing for, what am I, 35, 23, 12 years. And I'm a very logical and very practical person, and I go into every single detail of every different way I can save money. One of the biggest things is electricity. So I'm trying to get this into an organized thing in my brain. But, okay, so the majority of people, let's not go there. My electric bill ranges between $35 and $50 a month for two of us who live here. $35 and $50 a month. That's almost nothing, right, compared to most people. This month, my electric bill was $11. And change, less than $12. I'm going to show you something real quick, just one second. So our electric provider is called PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric. So as you can see, they send these out quarterly, and this is similar homes my size. This is how much electricity they use. This is energy efficient homes. These are people who have solar. That's the amount of energy they use when they have solar. The blue one on top, that's how much energy I use. And then it says better than average, good, and I'm in the great category. Usually I have 3 smileys. I think they just made a mistake, but whatever. So when you talk to solar power companies, they generally, the first question that they ask when they're trying to sell their product is, what's your monthly bill? And if your monthly bill is less than $250 a month, their sales pitch is essentially over. Where I live, solar companies will not put systems on your house unless it's 2.5 kilowatts. If I were to do my electricity, I would require 1 kilowatt, a 1 kilowatt system, not 2.5, which is the smallest that they do, a 1 kilowatt system in order to power my entire home. I would like to have a 1 kilowatt system, sorry, 1.5 kilowatt system, because it would not just power my home, but it would, you know, cover any, if I used a lot of electricity one month, it would still be completely covered. So that's one reason. Number 2. My girlfriend pays the Pacific Gas and Electric bill, so I don't have to pay anything. My bill is $0. So, but, you know, I still conserve a lot of electricity. I don't want her to have to pay a lot. And so it wouldn't be monetarily or practically feasible for me. Number 3. The third part is a little bit more complicated, but this house was built in the 1950s, and it has the original electrical from the 1950s. In order for me to get solar, I would have to upgrade the electrical system, which would cost between $3,000 and $5,000. I did call my homeowner's insurance company today to see if it would be covered. It's not. So that's another reason. So I would be buying too much, not using it. All of that extra energy would be going back to the electric company, and I would get nothing out of it. Now, a lot of people say, well, no, if you produce extra electricity, the electrical company pays you. I'm going to get into that. Give me one second. God, it's impossible to find a Sharpie in the house. Okay, so when you've got your PG&E, okay, you've got gas, and then you've got electric, right? So PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric. So your bill's divided into 2 parts, but it all comes on the same bill. So I'm just using this as an example, and yes, my bill was $11, but I'm just going to use a nice round number. I'm going to use $100, even. That's your bill, right? $100. So some of it's gas and some of it's electric. So let's say $70 is electric and $30 is gas. I usually have better handwriting than that, but $30 is gas and $70 is electric. If you have a 2.5 kilowatt system and you only use 1 kilowatt over that month, you have an extra 1.5 kilowatts, right? But that $70 or that $30 does not get eliminated. You still have to pay $30 in electric, or sorry, $30 in gas, right? So you've got that $70 that's covered, and then it goes into your next month's statement. Woo, next month. So so your next month's statement is also $100, right? Great, $100. You did exactly the same thing the next month. You used $30 in gas and $70 in electric. You still have to pay that $30 in gas. That extra electric that you produced the month before does not pay your next bill. It doesn't pay for the gas. Gas and electric are considered separate. Solar only provides you with electricity. It doesn't provide you with gas. And trust me, if any of you people want to comment, blah, 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 the PG&E company, that's not correct. It is correct. I am 100% correct. And don't even bother fighting me with this. I've researched this. I am a black belt in money saving, and I really understand electricity. Even you people, if there's anybody who works in solar, you can vouch for this information. I guess it depends on your state. Some people say that's not true. So if you do live in another state, I guess technically you could be correct. But in California, this is the way it works. So even if I were to get an electrical system that covered 100% of my electricity, I would still have to pay the gas bill. It's still a bill I have to get. And my gas, I only use gas for my water heater and my heater. I don't have an air conditioner. I have a wall unit, a wall air conditioner that you just stick in the window, you know, if it's really bad. And because I live in California, it doesn't really get that cold here. The coldest it has ever been inside my house is 49 degrees. Now, most of you who live in those places where there's a lot of snow, you say, haha, I don't even turn on the heater till it hits 40, right? So my body is acclimated to the weather. I don't ever have to use my heater. The water heater is another story. The water heater's turned all the way down, but I still have gas on my gas and electric bill. So getting solar would only cover the electric portion of my gas and electric bill. So makes sense, right? Another thing that people will say is, and I agree with this sort of to an extent, except for that problem that my electrical is from the 1950s. There are alternative options for installing your own solar. I completely understand that. I've done a lot of research, inverters and all that other great stuff. There's a really great company called Unplugged Solar. You can get a 1.5 kilowatt system. Perfect, right? And I believe it's around $4,000 or $5,000, plus you still get that 30% credit. But I still have that problem that I have to upgrade my electrical, another $4,000 or $5,000. And the fact that my bill is already so low, it just doesn't make economical, practical sense to purchase solar. Because if I have a $50 bill and solar companies, you know, let's say you get a cheap one for $15,000, doing the math, it would take me like, I don't even know how many cajillion years to pay it off. And by that time, the panels would have gone bad anyway because they're only warranted for 30 years. So it doesn't make any practical sense for me. Now there's also all of my prepper friends out there who say, you need solar for an economic collapse, you know, you need it. Well, let's be realistic about that too. I live in the suburbs, okay? I don't live in the urban or rural area. And I learned something a long time ago when I was a teenager. If you leave your purse in your car and you've got your wallet in your pocket, people will still break into your car to get your backpack, even only because they think that they have a wallet. Same thing goes with solar. A lot of people don't understand how solar works, and they just assume that if they grab the panels off the top of your roof, they're just going to be able to plug it in and it'll work. They don't realize that they need the inverter, backup battery system, and everything else. So if I were to have solar power on top of my roof and there were some sort of collapse, somebody would steal the panels, assuming that they would be able to get them to work, even though they didn't know how. Also, I do live near a place, two places that have fields of solar panels. When I say fields, I mean acres and acres of solar panels. So if there ever were some sort of collapse, it wouldn't be hard to steal because there's just so many. There would be some left. I mean, it doesn't matter. By the time I got there, there would be hundreds left. It would be ridiculous. I mean, when I say fields, I just mean so, like, you can't even see the end of them. So that wouldn't really be a problem for me. But one of the things that I do is I sort of base my preps on not needing electricity in a collapse. So, I've got the solar oven, propane stove, you can and dehydrate all your own stuff. It's things like that. And I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a quick money tip, something to think about. So, phantom power is a really big thing. You guys are probably like, how did you get an $11 electric bill? Trust me, I don't use any electricity. As you can see, I mean, I do use some, just not a lot. As you can see, I've got my blinds open right now. I don't use the lights. Hardly at all. And when I do, my lights are only 13 watts. Or 7 watts, depending on which room you're in. But, there's no lights that I keep on, and I don't use them unnecessarily. But here's something that I did. I plugged this in just to show you guys something real quick. So this is phantom power. The average television uses approximately 300 watts while it's turned on. But you see this little thing right here? So this is your cable box. And a cable box uses approximately 50 watts when it's not turned on. 50 watts turns after 20 hours into 1 kilowatt. So 1 kilowatt is 1,000 watts, right? So 2 hours at 50 watts is 100 watts. 20 hours is 1 kilowatt. So every day you're wasting 1 kilowatt of energy just to keep your things plugged in. Down here there is a smart strip. Here, let me show you. I don't know if you can see because it's so dark. So down there is that. You see that button, that red button? So you keep everything plugged into one of those. All right, this is just a quick money-saving tip. And when you're not using the TV, and this should be for every room, I'm trying to just turn it off. Oh, turn it off. That makes everything turn off. It's not being used. And you just saved yourself 1 kilowatt a day or 30 kilowatts in a month. If you look at your electric bill, that adds up to $7 or several dollars. And if you do that in every single room that has a TV, you're going to save a lot of money. Like I've told you guys before, this house was built in the 1950s and it has a really old electrical. But the beauty of that is, think of how people lived in the 1950s. They had one TV in the main room. There was no such thing as VCRs, DVDs, Roku boxes, video games, PlayStations. They didn't have that stuff. All they had was one TV in a living room, and the rest of the house was pretty much just standard light bulbs in lamps, and those were 60 watts each. So as long as you use energy efficient, not appliances, well, appliances too, but energy efficient electrical devices, and you keep them unplugged, you can save yourself thousands of dollars every year. And like I said, my monthly bill ranges between $35 and $50 a month. I think in the last 5 years, my largest bill was $74. And if you just learn to conserve instead of continuing your lifestyle the way that it is and then getting solar to accommodate that, which is an additional expense, just conserve what you already have. It's kind of like my motto, do what you can with what you have. And just don't use as much electricity. Learn how to not use as much electricity and teach your family to do the same. You can literally save thousands of dollars every year just by following that step, and you wouldn't need to get solar. So I hope that I answered your question, NC Prepper. And that's it. Do what you can with what you've got. Prepper Princess out.